ASMR Magical Tools. Hello, Cancer. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Cancer, today we are going to be doing your year ahead forecast for 2022. I'm going to be using this deck to do a month-by-month spread. And then, so to be honest with you, those can be a little bit discouraging if you only look at them by themselves. So if you stick with me through the month by month after that, we're going to be getting some messages from the crystal for clarification. We're going to be doing a Celtic Cross spread that's going to be an overview for the whole year. And usually that will give you a better sense of the picture overall so that you don't get too bogged down by the details. Now, if you enjoy this reading, I wanted to mention on the front end of this video that I do offer personal readings through my website at a few different price points. So, my website is in the description. I also have a Lenormand deck for sale, so you can buy that on the website as well. And let's get the cards out and get started. Go ahead and set your intention, Cancer, for how you would like to proceed with the year ahead. I'm also hearing Scorpio really strongly in my ear right now, so I don't know if you have strong Scorpio placement in your chart, or if you've been taking on some more Scorpio-like traits, or if there's a Scorpio in your life that is very important to you. All right. So, let's talk about January of 2021. Oh, King of Pentacles, that's really good. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse, and we have the Nine of Wands here. So, this Nine of Wands hasn't come out for anyone yet. Oh, come on. There we go. Wake up, camera. The Nine of Wands, as you can see, this girl here is lying on her back. And she's got her legs up in the air, but she's holding her skirt like down over her legs, or like holding her skirt so that it doesn't fall and expose like her underwear or whatever. And so she's being very guarded. There's a very guarded energy about the Nine of Wands. And we have this Seven of Swords in the reverse. So people being two-faced with you, people not expressing their true intentions so that they can take advantage of you. But that having happened in the past, so it's pretty common actually. I've found in my readings to see like the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Swords reversed together, that you've been like betrayed in the past, and therefore you're a lot more guarded toward people. We do have this King of Pentacles here. This is a great card to get on the front end of your reading, that going into 2022, you are going to be very financially successful and and solid. Financially successful and solid. Let's look at February. So we have the Eight of Swords here, and you can see this figure kind of like trapped by playing video games and by the TV and all of their media. This is one of the more visually descriptive cards in this deck. Not saying that the rest of them are not, but this one is very obvious imagery. Being trapped, feeling like your room is the entirety of all existence, and kind of getting sucked in by these material pursuits, possibly as well, and popular culture. I am going to divert for a minute, but time me. I don't want this to take more than a minute. I have noticed in my peer groups more and more, and I don't know if it's just me noticing it more or if people have gotten very media obsessed because they have been trapped inside during quarantine, but I've noticed that a lot of my friends talk almost exclusively about media and popular TV shows and stuff, and I really don't have an interest in discussing things like that. And I was just wondering if I was the only one noticing this, or if other people have experienced this as well. So, let me know what your experiences have been down in the comments, and please don't take this as an invitation to tell me about your favorite TV show or movie. It might mean a lot to you, but I'm just kind of not interested. So I hope that's not... I just want to know people's experiences about it. Okay, let's continue. So we have this idea of being trapped. We also have the High Priestess here. Now the High Priestess can see and know all things. She has great oracular talents and is capable of reading the Akashic records, right? Here she has this little red book in her hand that could be taken as any number of... could you please focus for me today, camera? Thank you. That this red book in her hand could depict a variety of different religious texts also. Religious texts and books of philosophy and other higher mental pursuits. The High Priestess is aligned with the moon, so also aligned with your sign, Cancer, as your ruling planet is the moon. Your ruling planetary body, rather, because the moon is a moon, obviously, and not a planet. But kind of disparate, these two energies. That the High Priestess is a very unearthly knowledge, and this Eight of Swords is depicting very worldly pursuits. We have the Queen of Wands here in the upright also. So you might have strong fire energy in your chart. The Queen of Wands doesn't have to be a fire sign person or a woman, but will be somebody who is very confident and who is able to present themselves with a lot of charisma and charm. This could be somebody coming into your life in the month of February, somebody who has a prominent place there. Or this could be how you are putting yourself out in the month of February, that you are studying these very lofty pursuits, but are also able to straddle that void into popular culture and media. So we have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is the idea of it being a little lonely at the top. That you could have a lot of success and a lot of alliances, but no true friendships. This card in the Moon Power deck also, they bring up Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and 42, the meaning of life and all things. We have the Four of Swords reversed. So, the Four of Swords is about rest and rejuvenation, being able to take time to take care of yourself. And because this card is in the reverse, and we have it here with this Seven of Wands, the Seven of Wands has a really busy energy here in the month of March, that you're scrambling to stay on top of your game. Sorry about that. We also have the Page of Wands here, and it's showing up reversed. The Page of Wands can be about your energy levels, definitely, and showing up in the reverse like this, that you kind of, you really aren't taking time to take care of yourself and your health, and your, the Page of Wands is kind of like your energy bar. And you can see on the card that the figure on the card is kind of passing this flame from the match that they're holding in their mouth to the match that this bird is holding in its mouth, or vice versa. It could be going either way. It looks like the flame. Oh, the bird is lighting their cigarette. Okay, I see that more closely now. So the bird is lighting this person's cigarette. And there is that idea of burning the candle at both ends. So in this deck, the Page of Wands is a bit of a falconer. And I believe this could be like a raven or a crow. Which is very similar to how the Nine of Pentacles is treated in a lot of tarot decks. So that's interesting, the idea of this pursuit of training birds and communicating with crows specifically. So pay attention to what crows say. They're very smart. Very, very smart. But there might be a need in March to replenish your energy stores in some ways. Let's look at the month of April of 2022. We've got the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups reversed, and we have the Six of Swords reversed. So the Six of Swords is about mobility almost exclusively, and this can be moving somewhere else. This can be taking a trip, and it looks like in April you might be planning to do these things, but you will not be taking any action in that direction in the month of April. Or you might have had plans for April to do these things, and then those plans end up falling through. That's possible also. Now I'm going to talk about these two cards together, the Two Cups. The Two of Cups is a partnership card, and it can be about romantic relationships, but it can also be about any situation where you are partnering with another person in an emotional sense. So it can also be about your close friendships and alliances. And this Ten of Cups in the reverse. So the Ten of Cups being a card of emotional fulfillment, and it is showing up reversed here. So that is telling me that this relationship has the potential for emotional fulfillment, choose to stay somewhere because you meet somebody new. Also, that could be what that's about. Let's look at May. May of 2022. We've got the Ace of Cups reversed. We have the Seven of Pentacles, and we have the Five of Cups reversed. So again, I'm going to look at the cups together. I think there is the potential for disappointment in something. It could be that this Two of Cups situation here in April ends up kind of fizzling out before it even really gets started. And rather than feeling too disappointed about it, you're just glad that you escaped long-term disappointment. Because maybe you really thought like, oh, this person seems to be very in sync with me and with my way of being, and I could really see myself having a future with them. But then instead of that happening, it kind of fizzles out before anything really happens. So that's possible. We have the Seven of Pentacles coming out too, and this is upright, so this is about putting a lot of energy into a particular project, into an endeavor that you are hopefully going to see some kind of reward in. I can't really give you a divination on that yet. I want to see more of the year before I make too many declarations about that Seven of Pentacles. You could feel like you put a lot of work into that partnership, but it was work that you were doing possibly like on yourself to be a better partner. And so you feel rewarded by the work that you had put in to becoming a better partner. May's a little bit volatile. We have some jumpers. So we have the Temperance card coming out in the reverse. The Temperance card is about mastery, first and foremost, but there are also elements to it of balance and patience. It is Sagittarius's card in the Major Arcana, and the card of the Bornless Right. Having mastery over having sight in the feet and the eternal fire, right? So, when this card is showing up in the reverse, it can speak to needing extra training in something possibly, or extra practice. Having more practice. Let's see what these other cards are that popped out. Well, we have you, Cancer, showing up in your reading, but in the reverse. The Chariot is another card about mobility, much like the Six of Swords, and it is a card of victory. So this could be you feeling stuck. We did have the Eight of Swords coming out here in, what was that, April? February. Yes, the Eight of Swords coming out in February. We had the Six of Swords reversed coming out in April. And now we have the Chariot, which is your card, coming out reversed in the month of June. Some of you will be celebrating your birthdays in late June. And you might be reevaluating or evaluating for the first time things about your life where you feel like you would, where you want to move forward. We have the Moon in the upright, and the Moon is about ways, paths, and journeys being unclear. The Moon's light is not the best light by which to make a journey, but rather is dark and obscure, and will not illuminate well enough the treacherous, any treacherous obstacles in your path for you to avoid them. The moon is also heavily associated with water. The moon, as I mentioned before, is your ruling planetary body, but the card of the moon in the tarot is associated with the sign of Pisces instead of Cancer. Your card, the Chariot, coming out in the reverse and coming out with the moon upright. So Cancer is a cardinal sign, and I feel like the cardinal energies are very much true to their prevailing energy, rather than the fixed signs are very true to themselves. And then the mutable signs are very flexible, but the cardinal signs are more like true to their direction. So like true north, true east, cardinal directions. And you may be trying to reconcile that in June. Let's look at the month of July. So many more of you are going to be having your birthdays in the month of July. We have the Seven of Cups here, and it's reversed. The Seven of Cups is about options that are open to you, but I'm hearing very clearly right now obstacles. That instead of having good options and bad options with the Seven of Cups, that you're experiencing a lot of obstacles in the month of July. We have the Emperor in the reverse, and the Emperor reversed can be about being at odds with authority figures, or with authority, going against the law, not necessarily like breaking the law, but kind of being at odds with the law. And yeah, the Emperor having this Mars in Aries energy. Is that what's going on there? I like their cute pins on their sweater. Let's see if I can get that to show up. Yeah. The Emperor and the Seven of Cups also have like this similar greenish cast to their face. It's kind of similar to the color that I'm wearing today. So that might be a significant color for you in the month of July. In an alchemical sense, this combination of blue and green that would be kind of like between the heart and the throat chakras. Needing to be true to one's heart and also true to one's truth, speaking one's truth. And we do have the Five of Swords in the upright for you here, which is a good way to deal with those energies, that you will be victorious in the month of July. It will be a hard-fought battle, but you will prevail and you will succeed. It may be at the cost of certain alliances or friendships, but that will be for the best. Let's look now at the month of August. Oh, major arcanas and the Page of Swords. So yes, with this Page of Swords, Page of Swords is like fact-finding, so can be espionage, but is also about seeking out information, learning things, but not in the sense of like educational. Rather, doing research in order to perfect one's understanding of the truth. We have 2 major arcana coming out reversed for the month of August. We have the Lover's card and we have the Death card reversed. The Lover's card can be about choices that need to be made. We did have that 2 of Cups coming out earlier in the year, in April. So that would be about a 4 or 5 month cycle. This Lover's card, they're lighting matches in each other's mouths, which I think is really cool. What a great bonding experience. And very much like the idea of passion burning hot, the bonding between 2 people, and alchemical marriages as well. Transmutation through partnership. Now, because this is reversed, and because it's coming out with the Death card, I'm really emphasizing that transmutational aspect. Remember back here in May too, we were talking about like things to do with this 7 of Pentacles, maybe talking about working a lot on oneself while in a relationship, even though that relationship might not work out, that you feel like you're putting a lot of good work in on your own well-being. Now this Death card being in the reverse could mean a few things. It can mean ending. It can mean transmutation. It can mean stagnation also in the reverse like this. It can also mean like something needing to end, but not ending yet. That Page of Swords, you might be checking someone's phone. You might be looking through their text messages, or you might be reading their journal, or something else like that. Those don't strike me as the true energy of it. We might get some more information when I get out the crystal for scrying, so I don't want to speak too much on that just yet. So let's look now at the last third of the year, and now we're getting into the territory of things that will be happening about a year from when I'm doing these readings. I'm doing these readings in late October. So September, we have the Sun reversed. We have the 5 of Wands reversed. And we have the 9 of Swords reversed. 9 of Swords reversed. 9 of Swords reversed. 9 of Swords upright. Excuse me. 9 of Swords upright is stress and anxiety. And possibly sleepless nights, or doing what I like to call anxiety sleeping, being paralyzed by anxiety and just totally wiped out by it is another possibility. So a lot of people read this as sleepless nights, but in fact, sometimes it can mean that you're sleeping all the time out of avoidance of difficult situations. So I want to give voice to that as well. The Sun reversed means that things are almost perfect. Things are almost in perfection for you. But yet there are still imperfections. person is facing forward, but she's kind of giving you the side eye that like this, she's kind of like looking forward but looking straight at you at the same time. And there's implications here of rivalry, of frenemies, of somebody who is comparing themselves against others because they want to be the best that they can be. Where we see this card in the reverse, you could be casting off and rising above those situations. But this in the reverse could also mean that those relationships have become very toxic. And that would cause a lot of anxiety, such that even if things were almost perfect, a few bad apples can indeed spoil the bunch. Let's look at the month of October. October. Oh, 9 of Pentacles. That's a good energy. We've got the Empress. Very powerful, generative energy. And the 4 of Pentacles reversed. So, you might find yourself spending more money in the month of October, or letting go of things. The 4 of Pentacles reversed can be very good as an energy of just letting go and not holding tightly to things. And this could be very good because your money situation with the 9 of Pentacles upright here looks like it's going to be excellent for the month of October. And you have the Empress coming out here. The Empress being a powerful creatrix, powerful and capable of great manifestation, but the manifestation that comes from fertility. Being a fertile and receptive vessel for creative energies, and then expressing that back into the world. November, what are we looking at for the month of November? Alright, the King of Cups. Cancer, this could be you coming out in the reading as the King of Cups. The King of Cups is a very warm and paternal figure. Somebody who takes care of others in an active way. Somebody who will give you a roof over your head and feed you if that is needed. So, after this windfall of success in October, you may be in the position to be this person for other people. And I do say for other people because the water energy is a passive energy. So the King of Cups is air of water. So there's active energy coming from the element of air, and then passive energy coming from the element of water. It's very balanced kind of an energy. But the thing about our emotional balance, and something that is unique to Cancer, is the reciprocity of it. The emotional reciprocity, which requires two parties. We also have the Four of Cups. So now you have many more options opening up to you, and you may be evaluating them in the month of November. And finally, we have the Hermit. So even though you have this very wonderful, warm, and open energy coming from the King of Cups, you are able to go through your own self-evaluations as also be a card of marriage, so there could be marriage coming in for you in December. We have the Ten of Swords. Now, this card looks really, really terrible, but the Ten of Swords just means that something is coming to an end. And in fact, the end of 2022 is a good place to see the end of these cycles, many of which are destructive and not conducive to one's best life. And the last card that we have coming out for you for 2022 is an excellent portend for 2023, which is the Star in reverse. This is setting you up. These energies are going to be setting you up. Hierophant can be spiritual guidance also. So I feel like the Hermit and the Hierophant are cards that are very similar in their energies, only that the Hermit is dealing with oneself, and the Hierophant is more of a collective energy of a group of people, with one person being the spiritual leader. So this is setting you up to have a lot of your hopes and dreams manifest in the year of 2023. Alright, Cancer, so now we're going to go through with the crystal and get some scryed messages month by month for the year ahead. So what are we looking at for January of 2022? Getting your grades right. So not assuming that you have a certain thing under control, but rather like checking in on all of your like all your various accounts. If you have a credit card, your bank account, any mortgage payments, student loans, things like that, just making sure you know where you stand with all of that information. Not that there's going to be any surprises, but like consolidating it maybe and getting it all into one place, getting it all accessible from one access point might be a good course of action to take. What about February? February of 2022. Something about a horse ranch. So I don't know if you ride horses or if there's a place nearby where people ride horses, but this might be a place where you go frequently in the month of February for exercise, leisure. Is it about the energy of horses? Is this having to do with the energy of horses? No, just that these equestrian trails are very picturesque. Picturesque equestrian trails. What about the third month here? March of 2022. Oval membrane, oval office, ovoid, like an egg shape. It's kind of like in the month of March, you're going to be shrugging off the membrane of this amniotic sac that you've been developing in. And so there's going to be like a little bit of fuzzy brain fuzz, some things like that that you might be needing to deal with for the month of March. March which is also, depending on where you live, can be a very bad time of year for allergies. Let's look at April of 2022. What do I need to tell Cancer about the month of April for 2022? You're gonna see the signs with this person. The signs that you might not grow old together, but that you can grow together. And that's going to be enough for April of 2022. Something about they're not old enough to remember that. I don't think, now don't get this twisted, I don't take this to mean that they're not old enough to date you. I think that it's more like they're not old enough to remember certain things from the past. Like this person, you know, could have been born after the year 2000 at this point. People born after the year 2000 are now like old enough to drink, so it's not that crazy. What about May? What do I need to tell Cancer about the month of May 2022? I'm really hearing like horseradish over and over again. Some of you, like your parents might have made you eat horseradish if you said swear words or something like that when you were younger, or that horseradish is like something that you use to settle your stomach, like people would use ginger. Horseradish is a very good medicinal root, and is akin to wasabi, so that might be important for some of you. The idea of like the pain leading to healing being part of that also. But for May, for 2022, what are you opening? What kind of boxes are you opening? What kind of letters are you opening? What kind of books are you opening? What kind of doors are you opening? What things are you opening? Focus on that and not things that you're closing. What about June? Some of our Cancer birthdays are going to be in June. What do I need to tell Cancer about the month of June for 2022? Your old habits are going to be falling away at this time, and that is going to be very uncomfortable for you in some ways. You know, like that line from the Nirvana song, I miss the comfort in being sad. I think about that line a lot, actually, because it really speaks a lot to the human experience, and I think that's one of the things that made Kurt Cobain's lyrics so relatable. But it's okay to walk away from those things, even if it means that you don't know where you're going yet. What about the month of August 2022? Don't miss out on this opportunity. Just because people are looking at you funny. So there could be like a situation where maybe you're auditioning for something, or you get into line to like, I'm seeing like people lining up outside the Supreme store to like get the next drop, which is silly, but just to give you kind of like an idea of the situation that it would be. And you know, maybe like people look at you like you have 3 heads or something. So don't let those people deter you from what it is that you're trying to do in the month of August. And I don't think that you will. But I do think that it's important to tell you So, just a heads up, people might be looking at you funny in August. In July, rather. That's your birthday month. So it's your birthday, you can do whatever you want. F those people's attitudes. Anyway, let's talk about August for 2022. August for 2022. Rosemary. Do you know rosemary? Or the herb rosemary? Or a rosemary. I am getting like a sense of the fragrance of rosemary. So one thing that you can do is anoint a white candle with, this is a very simple purification spell for your spaces. Anoint a white candle with rosemary or rosemary oil and burn that candle and envision yourself enveloped in the divine white light, and envision that light coming down from out in the universe. You can envision it coming from the sun and have it be a solar flame, or you can envision it coming from the moon, but the moon's light is reflected from the sun, so you may as well get it direct from the source, this purifying and ever-burning flame. What about September? What about September of 2022? What can I tell Cancer about the month of September of 2022? I see like a hearse, but not like a car. I see like an old style carriage drawn by horses, but there's like a coffin in the back of it, and the coffin is empty. The coffin is empty, but inside of the coffin are the hopes and dreams that you had for other people. Keep your eyes on your own paper, Cancer. How about October for the year of 2022? What can I tell Cancer about October for 2022? Money's gonna be very good, of course. Breathing freely. So whatever anxieties were going on back here in September, that's gonna be over by October. And I'm getting the sense that not a lot of these situations are contiguous. Like sometimes you'll see continuous energies throughout the year. But Cancer, your reading to me feels much more episodic, in that there are going to be these very distinct and discrete occurrences throughout the year in 2022. And that all of these things are not necessarily going to be interconnected, only insofar as they are all connected to you. What about November? What about the month of November in 2022? I'm seeing like a signal light. So, this could be like for a train. It looks like a signal light for a train in the darkness. And of course, like this signal light, it's very much like the light on the card for the Hermit, actually. And that this light guides you the way. So there might be like a particular path that you need to take, and there's going to be a signal light there. Now there's also Al-Shartain, which is the two signals, which is one of the lunar mansions, and that would be the first lunar mansion in the sign of Aries. So you could find out when that lunar mansion will be occurring in the month of November for 2022. And that date might be important. I'm not going to stop the reading here to find that out for you, but that information is easily accessible, and you've got a whole over a year to figure that out. So, give you a quest when Al Sharatain will be occurring in November of 2022. And then finally, we're going to talk about December of 2022 for you, Cancer. And what do I need to tell Cancer about December of 2022? Be receptive. So in November, we had the King of Cups come out. And it's important for you, especially around the holiday season, at the end of 2022, to open up your receptive energies and listen to your spiritual guidance. Get to know your spirit guides over the course of the next year if you don't already, so that in December you can open yourself up and be very receptive. And that's when this guidance about rosemary is going to be very important, because it's going to be important to protect yourself. You, in order to be very open, you do need to be well protected and have good wards. So August will be a good time to set a lot of those things up, especially with the transformative and changing energies that will be coming through at that time. Alright, Cancer. So now we're going to do the overview Celtic Cross reading. And I'm going to be using Serpent Fire decks for this, the She-Wolf Tarot for the Celtic Cross. And then I'll be doing the 12 Houses spread with the Celestial Bodies deck, portions of that deck. It's an enormous deck, and there are a lot of tools available in it, so I'm going to be using a lot of the astrological cards. And of course, my little tiny baby hands, I can't shuffle these lengthwise. So I'm just going to try to get reversals in the most organic way possible. I've been getting a lot of synchronistic alignments doing the Celtic Cross spread with these cards too. Alright. Six of Wands, victory. Very good. Crossed by the Magician. Wow, a lot of wands coming out for you. For the year of 2022, Cancer. So maybe some of you have Leo cusp or fire sign placements. Alright, so here in the past, let me move these over a little bit. Yes, there we go. There we go, fully in frame now. In the past, we have the Queen of Wands coming out. And remember, we had this Queen of Wands showing up in February of 2022. So this could be you being charismatic. You might have come into a new phase of yourself where you're being very charismatic, you're being very social, and able to charm other people very effectively. In the most immediate significator position, we have the Six of Wands, which is a card of victory. It's very similar to your card, the Chariot, actually. And it is crossed by the card of the Magician. So powerful manifestation at this time. A lot of this active suit of wands represented here in your reading. In the Imam Silai, the origin of what's going to happen up here in the midheaven, we have the Ace of Wands reversed. There was another sign that got Ace of Wands reversed in this position. I don't quite remember which one it was, but in this particular reading, the Ace of Wands reversed here. So we've got this manifesting energy here crossing the current position. So for you, this Ace of Wands might represent potential energies at this time rather than a possible feeling of impotence or of low energy levels. I think that this card is showing up reversed in your reading because these energies are potential right now, and in fact, in the midheaven position, just to skip ahead a little bit, we do have the Ace of Swords, and that card is upright, so that is a direct progression. So now we're going to be looking at your perspective and an outside perspective of the Imam Silai current situation, and from your perspective we have balance. This is like the Justice card in this deck, and it has to do with an equalization, achieving homeostasis. Everything kind of canceling out, totaling out, settling debts. So you are equalizing everything, and it is possible that you are gaining justice in a particular situation, that you feel like you have been justified in something. From the outside looking in, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is a card about hard work. And in the upright like this, it is kind of not assumed, but there's an implication that the hard work is paying off. When the Seven of Pentacles comes out in the reverse, I do call that the quit your job card. It is not worth it. But in this case, people see that you've been putting in a lot of hard work. In the future, we have the Nine of Wands. This card is about self-defense. Self-defense. It's about being guarded. Also, but it's also about protecting what you already have. So, definitely keep in mind, keep lots of white candles on stock and lots of rosemary oil, or perhaps grow a rosemary bush outside of your house. There are some rosemary bushes kind of close to where we live, so sometimes I like to walk over there and pluck a few sprigs. And I would invite you to do so. Rosemary is very prolific here in Southern California, so I don't feel bad about plucking a few sprigs of commercially cultivated rosemary from outside of the Van Nuys Airport. Let's look here at the hopes and fears for 2022. We have the Ten of Swords. So I do see that you are either hoping for an ending or fearing an ending to something. How you feel about that is up to you, Cancer. But so I kind of use use this card as the crossing card for the future. And because that's the environment you're going to be operating in the future. So that Ten of Swords is going to be why you are feeling guarded like this. In the midheaven position, we do have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is a card of transformation, but it is a transformation perpetuated from within yourself. So this is not like the Tower. This is not something that is being done to you. This is something that you are doing for yourself, for and to yourself. And then in the final outcome position, we have the Four of Cups. So that shows that there will be new options opening up to you, much as we saw in December of 2022 in the month by month. Okay, so now we are going to go through and lay out the 12 houses spread on top of this spread. Starting with the astrological signs. Cancer, your energy is showing up in the 11th house of your social groups. And now the planets and planetary and astrological bodies. And Saturn is in the 11th house with you for this reading. And your significator planetary body, the moon, isn't going to be part of the spread. But we do have like lunar cycles also to deal out, so just to give you a perspective for the energies that will be involved in your reading. Great. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. let's get right into it. So, the first house is the house of self. And this is also the house of beginnings. So this could be the beginning of the year in 2022. We have the romance and finance centered Venus in the practical house of Capricorn, or the practical sign of Capricorn, sorry. And this involves the midheaven as well. So midheaven, as I mentioned when we were doing the Celtic Cross, is has to do with your destiny in life, and the destiny of where you are moving forward to in your life currently. More specifically, destiny in general would be something like South and North Node. So Venus in Capricorn, we've got, Venus is a little bit whimsical, right? Having to do with luck, money, love, fortune, things like that. And then we've got this very practical sign of Capricorn. So kind of balancing those two things. The practicality of having good luck, right? Practicality and love. And this is back here next to this Queen of Wands energy. So somebody who is using their charisma for a practical purpose. And in the midheaven, we have that Ace of Swords, so making positive changes in your own life. The second house. The second house is your finances and stability in your life. And we do have the transformative energy of a solar eclipse there. So, and we do have the card of balance in the second house. So where your finances and stability in your life is concerned, you may be striking a very good balance. In 2022, we do have the astrological sign of Libra there, and we have Pluto in Libra. So Pluto is a kind of a transformative energy, and is very like, sometimes it's a planet, sometimes it's not considered a planet. It's very far away. And so it's very difficult to know exactly what is going on with Pluto because it's so far away from us and from the sun. So with this solar eclipse energy, then we're talking about total removal of the light of the sun, which almost never happens, only during the solar eclipse, right? And only from a small part of our planet. But this being a very transformative and revolutionary energy for you in the sector of finance and stability over the year ahead. So now we're getting into the realm of the Imam Silai. And remember that we had the Ace of Wands showing up here in the reverse. So that while you do have great manifesting capability at this time, we do have the Magician crossing the Six of Wands in the current state of affairs, that there are potentials, nascent potentials in you right now that will only be realized later. The third house has to do with communication. It can be about short distance travel, so that would be less than 200 miles, and it can have to do with your siblings. We have the ascendant there. So, not necessarily that, obviously your third house isn't going to be your ascendant, right? But I left the imam sili and the ascendant and the descendant and all those things in to kind of give us an indicator as to what else to look at. So there could be things that you're dealing with in the self right now. The ascendant is a lot about the self also. Who you are, who you would like to be, what's going on with you. And we have Mercury in Scorpio. So your ascendant could be Scorpio. Or you could also have Mercury in your first house. Those are possibilities. But Mercury in the sign of Scorpio is going to be communication about transformative things, communication about possibly hidden things like secrets, communicating about secrets, communicating about an inheritance, possibly also. And this being in the third house, there could be communication with siblings about an inheritance. Or communication with siblings about secrets. And these secrets could have to do with your sense of self, who you present to the people around you, because that's a big part of the ascendant, is that your sun sign is like you are who you are. But then the ascendant is kind of like the energy that you project outward to other people. So now we're going to look at the fourth house, which is home and family. We have the waxing crescent moon. So this is right after the new moon. We are gaining more light, but right now it's just a very thin sliver of light right after the new moon. And we have more Mars in Taurus. So Mars is a very aggressive energy, very belligerent energy. Taurus can actually be quite stubborn. So this gives me the feeling of kind of like a bull in a china shop. And especially where it comes to like your home and family life. There could be secrets. Remember we were talking about with Mercury and Scorpio here in the third house that are opening up into the home and family life that are going to be kind of like a bull going into a china shop in effect, because we have this Ace of Wands here in the reverse. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be bad or it's going to be difficult to deal with, but it is going to precipitate change, because remember we have this Ace of Swords up here in the midheaven. The fifth house is your passions. That can be children, it can be your children, it could be you as someone else's child. It can also be romance and creativity. And remember, we have the Seven of Pentacles there. So people can see, can they? People can see the hard work that you're putting in there with the fifth house, creativity. You could be working very hard on a creative project, or you could be working very hard on yourself, so that when you are in romantic relationships, you're bringing the best parts of yourself to that relationship. So that's possible too. We have new moon energy here, so this is the very beginning of a new cycle for you. in creativity or romance, or this could be the conception of a child even. And then we have Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. So Gemini can be communication or short distance travel, and Jupiter is all about expansion, and especially as it regards wealth. So you might be taking more short distance trips, and that is bringing you wealth. Jupiter in Gemini could also be an increase in communication that is bringing in more wealth to you. And remember that in the second house of finances and stability, we had Pluto in Libra, a change in how you balance everything in your life. So there are some very transformative energies coming through for you in 2022, Cancer. Very transformative. And I really like this part of the reading because it is talking about ways that you can improve your life moving forward. Whereas like the 12 house, or the 12 months rather than the 12 houses spread, you're kind of going month by month and looking at like, oh, this is going to be something to look out for. You have to look out for this. So I like this part of the reading better. But I think they're both important. We have the Nine of Wands here in the future, which is by the 6th and 7th houses. And the 6th house is your daily routines and your health. And we have the Imam Silai there, so these could be things that are very foundational to you, that you've been either doing for a very long time, or are rooted in your childhood, or health issues that come from early childhood, or that are going to spark this change possibly as well. We have Uranus in the sign of Pisces. Uranus is the iconoclast among planets. And with Pisces, everything is possible. Pisces is a mutable water sign, and so does have to do with endings. And through merit of governing endings also has to do with cycles, ending cycles. There could be cycles ending in favor of new beginnings, where your daily routines and habits are concerned, and also where your health is concerned, that you might be trying brand new things at this time that you've never done before, and bringing other cycles to an end. Pisces can also have to do with like divination, as it regards clairvoyancy and the clair senses. Uranus can be groups of people, also through its association with the 11th house in Aquarius, but I'm not really getting a sense of that here as much as I am Uranus as bringing in new things. Uranus can also be about the occult, because that is trying new things. And with this Nine of Wands here, you will be going into these situations armed with as much knowledge as you have available to you. So the 7th house is your descendant house, and it is the house of other. So this is about your partnerships. It can also be about open enemies and the court. We have a lunar eclipse here. A lunar eclipse can be a revolution that is kind of like a dark night of the soul, that you come through this very dark time and end up somewhere so much more suited to you, because you had to make your way in total darkness. And we have here Neptune in Virgo. One of the other signs got Neptune in Virgo in the 12th house, and I don't remember which one. that's not important right now. Neptune is your relationship to your higher power. And Virgo is a sign that's very detail-oriented, almost to the point of neurosis. And is very much about your health and your daily routines through association of the 6th house. Virgo in partnerships can be a little bit over analytical of one's partners. But where we have the relationship with the higher power and this Neptunian energy coming in, there's a potential there for the kind of self-transformation that we've been seeing in other parts of the reading, such that this Virgo energy might not be expressed as you being over-analytical of partners, but rather getting higher guidance, being in communion with your higher power, and using that to analyze the self that you're bringing to these relationships, because that would be a much more Cancerian way of handling that energy, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, dealing with Cancers. So now we're going to look at the 8th house. And remember, this is up by the hopes and fears where we had the 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords is a definitive ending to something. And so it would be apt that it's over here by the 8th house. We have the first quarter moon, so whatever is ending could have really not have been around in your life for very long, really not have had its energies in your life for very long. And we have Sun in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius energy is all the things we do to elevate ourselves. And the Sun in Sagittarius is highlighting those things. So that's like higher education, religious organizations, long distance travel, and other such ventures. You might have started something and then realized that it wasn't right for you, and thus decided to not pursue it further. But in pursuing it somewhat, you were able to learn a lot of things about yourself, and that's really like what I'm getting from this 7 of Pentacles energy that keeps cropping up in the readings. So now we're going to talk about the midheaven, and we're going to talk about this Ace of Swords, which is here. That's some kind of change that you are making from within. A lot of people have been getting this void, of course, moon in the 9th house. The 9th house, of course, being very similar to Sagittarius energy. All the things that you do to elevate your vibrations. And the void, of course, moon is the time between when the moon makes its last transit with another planetary body and then moves into the next sign. There's this period of time where it's just kind of like in the tail end of that astrological sign, getting ready to move into the next one. So it's preparation energy, and it is a good time for rest and recuperation. Interestingly enough, we have Black Moon Lilith there. Black Moon Lilith is all the ways that you have the potential to be vilified throughout your life. And Black Moon Lilith in Aquarius is kind of about alienation from groups of people. Feeling like you're very different from others. And so this having been the root for a lot of your transcendental transformation. So this could be related to this Sun in Sagittarius, that you hadn't gotten very far on a certain path, but you realized that it was going to alienate you from other people. And that rather than alienating yourself, you might be deciding to find ways to align yourself to the people who are already on your vibration. The 10th house is your career. And we have waning gibbous energy there. So there is an area in your career life where the full moon has already happened, and now we are just on the other side of that full moon. And this could be how your career plays out in 2022. We're also looking at South Node and North Node energies. So the South Node is the things that you come into this life needing to deal with. And inversely, the North Node is about things that are part of your destiny in this incarnation. And that would be South Node / North Node in Leo, and then also Aquarius. So North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius would also kind of fit in with like Black Moon Lilith in Aquarius. Not that they're necessarily the same placement, but it's a very similar energy because these are things that you're having to like work through in this incarnation. And so Leo energy would have to do with this creative energy down here also. That there is a great potential. There is a new creative cycle starting. But it might be on the other side of what was like a really full creative cycle. So that's not to say that this isn't going to have the energy that it needs to take off. But it might be something you approach with slightly less enthusiasm, possibly. This could be speaking to the amount of energy with that Ace of Wands reversed that you actually end up putting into this project as well. Because that Ace of Wands reversed is going to be potential for energy, but how you express that energy is going to be up to you. And these passions, what your passions are in this life, is going to end up being a big part of your destiny. Figuring out which of these passions are really going to connect you to other people seems to be a big theme as well. So now we're going to talk about the 11th house, which is where I said that Cancer's card ended up. It's over here with this 4 of Cups. So the 11th house has to do with groups of people, your social groups. It can be social media also. And the 4 of Cups is having like a few different options open to you that you are currently evaluating, probably toward the end of 2022. We have the card of the Descendant here. So remember when we were looking at the 7th house, we were talking about self-evaluation in the context of relationships. So this idea coming out again that the 11th house is also a house of other, right? And Cancerian energy is very much about the reciprocity emotionally between people's emotional reciprocity with each other. And that emotional style, instead of communication, we're talking about rapport, right? And we have Saturn here too. So even if you are sun sign Cancer or rising sign Cancer or even moon in Cancer, Saturn is a lifetime energy. This is a very slow moving energy, and it takes a long time to develop. You could very well have a Saturn in Cancer placement. But what's more important about this Saturnian energy in the 11th house is that Saturn is just a very slow moving and concrete type of energy, such that we're also going to be looking at it in terms of these things like destiny and what you are the energies you work with throughout the course of your life. And so Saturn is showing up in that context here. And the idea of building emotional reciprocity within groups of people of which you are a part is kind of a long-term energy that I'm seeing cropping up here in your reading, Cancer. And that Four of Cups, you could have, a few different groups of people that are doing things that you're interested in, that you may wish to reach out to and become a part of. And so part of that is Saturn energy, building the rapport with people over time. And so now we're circling back around to this Queen of Wands here, and we're looking at the 12th house. The 12th house is endings. It can be also about incarceration and your psychic attunement. So we have waxing gibbous here. That's right before the full moon. So this cycle could be about to end very soon when we're talking about 2022. And the energy that we have here is Chiron in Aries, which is the current transit. Chiron is the wounded healer. It is a orbiting body that's very, very far away, like out in the outer planets, near like Neptune and Uranus. And Chiron in Aries specifically is about healing parts of the self. So we have talked a lot about self-analysis throughout this reading, and honestly I feel like Chiron in Aries affects Cancerian energy in a really profound way that's not really described by like trines or squares or anything like that, right? But this Chiron in Aries being the self-evaluation, things like selfishness, childish behavior, beginning things and not finishing them. All of these might be coming up for you around this time. And by the end of 2022, you may be bringing this cycle to a close. This could be with the waxing gibbous moon energy here. 2022 could be when that self-evaluation reaches a peak. And then going into 2023, you're really solid in who you are, and you are able to move forward in a whole new way, with whole new perspectives. Alright, so I saved the bibliomancy for the very end. If you're still awake, drop a cow emoji down in the comments, because we are going to be using the prehistory of The Far Side by Gary Larson for our bibliomancy for the 2022 forecasts. So I'm going to read to you the caption about this first, and then I'll show you. The deer, I think, is any one of us caught in the situation where some maniac, having entered our home, is trying to hunt us down and kill us. Pleasant thought. I wonder if Ernie Bushmiller ever worked with this theme in Nancy. I started with the horrible movie idea, but decided it didn't make much sense compared to the deer simply trying to collect himself. So you can see in the rough sketch for this comic, where the deer is like, this guy is trying to kill me. It's like some horrible movie, right? And we see the hunter back here. And then he added this other caption out to the side. And so this revision is what he ended up using in the final comic strip. Because, he didn't know how well that part about the deer seeing a horrible slasher flick would translate into the comic strip. But this particular comic, there's quite a bit going on, and he did bring up the comic Nancy, which is also a personal favorite. You should read the new ones, they're really good. But it is kind of like someone breaking into your house, and they're tracking you and trying to kill you, right? And so we're seeing this deer kind of like going through the anxiety of someone from a true crime video, you know? And he's trying to think if he knows the guy. So this could be, I kind of get the sense, Cancer, that this is you like trying to hide from different parts of yourself. And that the self is going to be like hunting you. Oh god, that sounds so bleak. Well, it's a Gary Larson comic, so it's supposed to be funny, but it's also supposed to be like that dark kind of humor, right? And you're like looking over your shoulder and you're like, oh god, do I even know this guy? And then you realize he has your face. Sorry. But it is that kind of an energy with the Chiron in Aries. And the overall self-transformation. It's almost like you're hunting down different parts of your own personality throughout 2022. And that is a lot of hard work. And so we have the Seven of Pentacles coming up at every opportunity where that's concerned. And a lot of things about your dynamics with groups of people and interpersonal relationships cropping up as well. But not necessarily from the point of view of like how you need to, how other people are going to be treating you, but rather how you are going to be treating yourself in the face of these interactions. So be a little more gentle with yourselves, Cancers. Thank you so much for joining me for your 2022 DELUXX guidance. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments, and please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again very